Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ranking Member, and thank you to our witnesses for coming today. Whenever I've heard these conversations in the past, and even today, it seems like they're broadly framed in the economy versus health outcomes. And I guess I disagree a little bit with that characterization. I have a son that has special needs to include some breathing issues. And I want clean air, clean land, clean water as much as anyone does. But I know that I also need a job to be able to get him the health care that he needs, to be able to provide that health insurance. And I also need a robust chemical manufacturing capability here in the United States to be able to produce the medicines, the medical supplies that my son needs. And this isn't just me. This is a massive part of my district. My district produces tens of billions of dollars of oil, gas, fuel, petrochemicals, agriculture, fertilizer, et cetera. And those are the jobs that allow these families to be able to provide for the health needs of their kids and of their families. And finally, we know that financial stressors have a direct correlation to negative health outcomes, people either delaying seeking care until that problem becomes bigger and more expensive, financial stressors causing negative mental health outcomes. And so really a two-part question here. Mr. Moody, I'll start with you. Two-part question. Number one, any sort of ballpark estimate that you can provide in terms of either lost jobs, inability to create jobs stemming from how the EPA is interpreting TSCA? And then part two, any insight into negative health impacts as a result of that, either loss of jobs or loss of economic productivity in terms of either the job itself or the loss of manufacturing ability for medicines, medical supplies, things of that nature?
Thank you for the question, Congressman. I don't have a good estimate on the economic impacts, is the short answer. The longer answer is very complicated, and it gets into a lot of opportunity costs, and most of these chemicals going through the new chemicals process are subject to CBI, and so we don't even know really what's on the list. Our members won't even share it with us, but they assure us they could be game changers. One thing I would say, though, and I want to pick up on something you said. I agree that there's innovation and health are not mutually exclusive. So, hear me say that very clearly. And actually, TSCA itself discusses these things in terms of reasonable risk, making it clear that there are hazard considerations, exposure considerations, and then there's actually risk tolerance considerations in here, because what you might consider risky, somebody else might not, right? And so these are going to be some subjective judgments at the end of the day. Our concern is that EPA has gotten away from the science here, and that they're making unreasonable assumptions about exposure, and that's driving decisions based not on sound science. So not exactly an answer to your question, but if I ever get a better number, I'll make sure we convey it.
Thank you. And Dr. Engler, so hearing that EPA has gotten a little bit away from the science, do you have any insights into the negative health impacts that might have in our ability to be able to either provide jobs or produce the manufacturing to provide medicines and medical supplies?
I can't speak directly to that, but a group that we manage we had a couple dozen members and surveyed them and did an economic analysis. And the economic analysis, they ran the results from the members through M-Plan, the economic model, and the model predicted something on the order of billions of dollars a year of lost economic activity because of the issues with the new chemicals program.
Thank you. Mr. John, it looked like you had something to add
Yeah,
there.
I could speak directly to that in this case. So I have asthma as well, and thankful I don't need to use an inhaler very often, but you actually need formaldehyde to make an inhaler work. And the EPA's evaluation of formaldehyde and the bad science that they used to reach their conclusions was such a low level, below background levels, that this room would have not been in compliance with their original proposal. That's the kind of science that we're talking about that is driving decisions that are not in our health interest or our economic interest.
So can you just expound on that a little bit? The ability to get something as simple as an albuterol inhaler, which has formaldehyde as one of the precursors to manufacture that, could be potentially impacted by the current interpretation that the EPA is taking for TSCA?
Absolutely. Now, we have been successful in getting them to back off of that, but they are still 3 times lower than the level that was just determined by the EU, which did that in the last year or two. So we're orders of magnitude out of line with everywhere else in the world.
Real quick, I know my time's short. How much time and effort did it take you to get the EPA to walk that back?
Well over a year.
Thank you. Yield back.
Gentleman yields back, now recognized